Hello, this is me, Samantha. Welcome to my channel and your Justice right here. And I want to thank you guys for coming on. I want to thank you for supporting me. I hope that if you seeing this video for the first time or you hit the notification, please subscribe to my channel, hit that notification button, and so that you can be up on topics of what I address. Okay, so first of all, I want to thank those who have donated to me, who have emailed me about their concerns, if it's regarding credit acceptance or anything else. I hope I've given you some information or some tools that you can use to help yourself. Now, back to me. Today, I'm wearing makeup. Oh my goodness. Yes, I am. And I'm outdoors. Look here, when you get over a certain age, hey, makeup and mask, it does not work. So I had to make a decision. So I made the mask priority, and, it's cooling down now. I can wear makeup. So I'm happy about that. And I hope you guys are happy too. I'm happy about it. Okay, next month is breast cancer awareness. So if you whether you're a man or woman, don't forget, I'm going to be wearing these breast cancer shirts all October. I'm just giving you a heads up so that you guys go get your breasts checked out. They have programs, if you can't afford it, that you can go get your mammogram for free. Hey, while your man rubbing on your boobies, ask him, do he see a lump? And while, y'all there, rub on his too. Make sure if he has a lump. This dedication is for my cousin Kip. He was 41 when he died of breast cancer. So I want to tell you guys that it's real, okay? Now I'm going to get to the topic. A lot of people now are wondering how the Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, how her death reflects other things and how it may even reflect your case, okay? Justice Ginsburg was a very, very fighter for the equality of rights, which including abortion rights, voting rights, civil rights. She was a very, very pivotal person in the Supreme Court, and her presence was not only there as a great deal, even though she was in her 80s, she was a still fighter for that. And I think that she knew how important it was. That's why she tried so hard and so long and fought so hard and so long to live, and her death, it even though she's at 87, it comes as a shock. So a lot of people ask, well, Samantha, how does that affect? Well, if anybody knows, the Supreme Court is nominated by the president. The president nominates somebody, and they have to go through a very rigorous investigation into their past, see if they're compatible, and then all of that, they have to go to the Senate and have a confirmation hearing. Then after that, they vote to see if they, if they are nominated or not. Justice Ginsburg, she was appointed by President Clinton, which was a Democratic president. So now everybody's asking, why is her death and her replacement is so up in there? Because too many left or right Supreme Court justices will have an effect on how certain things and certain laws are rewrote or implemented. Like, for instance, abortion rights. A lot of people say that, and I agree. I don't agree with abortion, but I agree with the fundamental right that a woman should have a choice. Whether she just had an unwanted pregnancy, if she was raped. There's a case that a woman was raped and she had a baby, and the rapist fought to get visitation rights, and that became a landmark case. So those are very, very and it gave a new precedence for the Supreme Court, because who wants to raise, even though that may be a child, and a lot of people don't want to the dramatics of being raped and then have to end up having a kid and then have to end up seeing the man that raped you come over and pick the kid up like y'all was in a relationship. So those kind of cases are held before the Supreme Court. And so, a lot of people say, well, it doesn't matter. Let Trump, do it. Well, that may be, but, again, his track record is not as good as, that's another subject about that entirely. So my question is that when we say, well, should it matter or not? Yes, it does, because it determines certain things that we as American citizens will have to end up dealing with. It could affect our life. It could voting rights. It could affect zoning or if you committed a felony, would you lose your rights, or certain things can come into implement. That's why I tell everybody, anybody can get on here on YouTube and make a claim, or Facebook, social media, and say, well, you know what, it's I don't want to vote, or people who vote are slaves, or people who do this and that. But my question is, before you start making that assumption, see, those of them that come to that agreement never really read cases like Brown versus the Board of Education. Because if you read that case, then you will understand how the important was then and now for segregation. If you read the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and 1968, then you can understand the importance of your civil rights and how important it is to protect it. Or the voting rights, how important it is to protect it. See, because in reality, the Civil Rights Act was not designed to protect private citizens. It was only designed if you worked in a government entity and you can allege discrimination. It was not really designed to protect housing, but until they amended it in 68 and included all these things that was missing in 1964. That was 4 years after it became. But see, if you don't know these things, if you don't actually go and do your research on laws, because I guarantee you, everything that is going on in this city or your state or your federal government, there's a case law that relates to that. When they talk about things like zoning, there's a Supreme Court case about that. There's an appellate court case about that. When they talk about things like abortion rights, Planned Parenthood, there are cases, Roe versus Wade. They bring all these cases that we sit here and we say, well, that people come on here and talk about, give their opinion. You got to realize now, there is a case for that. And a lot of people don't research the legal aspect of that case. They just hear somebody going through something, and then they turn around and say, oh, well, the voting don't make no sense, or this don't make no sense, or blah, blah, blah. Police brutality. In Tennessee, there was Tennessee versus Gardner. And for those of you who don't know about that case, I'll give you a summary. It's about a police officer who was kind of overweight. This black guy, they claimed that he had robbed somebody. And this was in the 60s. This was a 60s case. And he was robbed. They had claimed he was committing a crime. So the police officer was so heavy set, he didn't want him to get away. This young black guy he was sprinting, he was really running. And they didn't want the officer, who was white, did not want him to get away. So what he did was, to keep him from getting away, he shot him. But he shot him in the back, and he killed him. And that case became it became a Tennessee Supreme Court case. So, and it became a Supreme Court case. It became a Supreme Court case as well. So you can't sit here and say, and that set the focus. So when somebody say, well, they've been doing this all the time. No, they haven't. And a lot of these attorneys, when they going back, they don't like the Floyd case. All these other cases that come about, they don't just, this is not something new. They go back and they look at other cases, what the Supreme Court said about those cases, and what the appellate court said about these cases. Take immigration, for example. You say how that this current administration is really doing something bad to these families. They tearing them apart. They doing all of this. They doing all of that. Well, okay, there are Supreme Court cases that says that cites. Now, I'm not an attorney when I give you that. I forgot to disclose I'm not an attorney. So I ask, I challenge you. Read up what I'm telling you. Don't just take what I'm saying. Read up what I'm telling you. So anyway, back to that case. So, there's a case where the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court, held that anybody that is on American soil is still entitled to the 14th Amendment of due process. You can't take that away. You cannot take nothing away. And you wonder why so many judges, federal judges, are blocking all the things that Trump are doing, because it's apparent. I'm not hating on the man per se. I'm hating on the policy, because see, we have to protect these things. People say, well, you know what? An executive order only exists when a current president is there. Like today, if he wanted to bring back the amendment of slavery until he get out of office, black folks will become slaves. Black folks will become slaves. So as far like, for instance, going back to immigration, I don't want to keep jumping over, but back in immigration, it says, like I said, it says that those who come here, illegal and illegal, are still entitled to the 14th Amendment of the law here. We can't deny that. The Supreme Court has held that. It's so many federal judges that violate your right to represent yourself in court. And the Supreme Court and the Appellate Court says that the right to protect yourself, represent yourself in court, is protected by the Bill of Rights. But you have judges that sit here and they play tricks and games and deprive you of that. So when we sit here and we say, well, I tell you what, this don't matter to me. Well, I'll never be in. No, you may not. But if you don't know, we got family members, sons, daughters, uncles that may be up against the judiciary system. And then those situations where you're sitting here saying, it don't matter, all of a sudden it hit home. Especially if even if they're not innocent or they're innocent, they still entitled to that. The law still has to be right. There's a case where Arizona, memorandum versus Arizona, that set the Supreme Court case that says that, anytime a police officer, see, when I see these videos, when people saying, well, why I got to do this? Well, why I got to do that? Well, my constitutional, no, it's not what you say, just what you say. Is you need to state facts. Memorandum versus Arizona says that if you are about to question me, that you have to read my memorandum rights. You have to make sure that I understand my memorandum rights. And if I can't, you're supposed to provide an attorney for me. Even if they're asking you a question, they can, if there's any form of detain, they have to be able to read you your rights before they start asking you a question. Even if they just talking to you and saying, I need to talk to you, at that point, we need to bring you down to the station. Or you in the car, you need to get out the car. We need to ask you something. Where are you going? At that point, they need to read you your memorandum of rights. That's just it. But you have to know what to say. You can't sit there and say, I'm a sovereign citizen and I don't know, blah, blah, blah. No, I've never heard of that. So you have to be able to understand the law. So like I said, it's not just about, hearing somebody that say it and then you turn around and you say, well, I'm going to repeat what they said. I'm a so-and-so citizen. I don't have to do this. No. Read the law. The law at the law library, your local law library, can tell you everything that you're not the only one. It's just like the Bible. You ain't the only person that's going through this. You ain't the only person. And God knew that long time. You ain't the only person. So when you talk about laws, you ain't the only person that's been discriminated, that got pulled over. Police police did wrong things. And because of the memorandum of understanding, and memorandum versus Arizona, that if they don't read you your rights, then any statement that you make can be kicked out. That's what the law says. But if you got to have a good attorney to know how to proceed there. And if any statement you make, but you have to know. So when people come to me and say, well, you know what? When they come to me and they say, well, Samantha, what do you think about this? Or whatever you think about that. I tell them, I said, that's why it is so important for us to vote. Because we have these justices that make decisions for us every day that turn into law that could affect us. From driving to living in our homes, the Fourth Amendment right to the right of our to be secured in our properties, our home, due process, or regardless of that. We have to protect those things, and we have to make sure that we not only have a president that's going to help us protect those rights, but he's going to abide by them as well. And when we don't have that, when somebody think that they are above the law, that's where chaos and confusion come about. See, when you have police officers that think they're above the law, then it's okay for them to beat on you or do things to you because they feel like you don't know your rights. You don't read up on them. Again, I said this in a video once, and I'm gonna say it again. I'm fighting credit acceptance, and I kept saying, why is it that I'm giving a hard time? I'm fighting. And I'm giving a hard time. They said because they know that black people don't fight. We give up. When they put enough pressure on us, we'll give up. We'll give in. We'll move on. We don't fight. Very few fight. That's what somebody told me. And they in the legal field. But when you fight and you let them know, I am fighting for my rights. Right now, I'm fighting for my Fourth Amendment right. My right of due process. My right from being, for somebody to come and take something from me without proper paperwork. I am fighting. I am fighting for my due processes in the court. I am fighting for my justice, my right as an American citizen. But in order for me to be able to do that, I have to be able to know the law. I have to be able to cite the cases. So when we talk about that, when we talk about, preserving the rights of Justice Ginsburg, that's why we can't allow a president to come in and start saying, no, you know what? She did like she was an old rug. She less than 24 hours. We need to replace her. The justice, we cannot allow people to use the justice system as their own benefit. That is for we the people. And we the people need to take care of we the people. We need to start back being fighters. We need to start being warriors. And not just my black brothers and sisters. I'm talking about my Latinos. If 2020 ain't taught you nothing else, look around you. We wearing masks. Look around you. We having more killings, police killings. And within 3 years. We have had protesters called terrorists. They enacted laws now that make it a federal felony for you to protest. That's your First Amendment right. And if you think for 1 minute that this election, that the appointment of Justice Ginsburg means nothing, then you in bigger trouble than we thought. I thank you guys for listening to my videos. I thank you guys once again for watching me. I am outside. Oh, it feels so good here. I tell you, it feels so good. And if you want to donate, please donate. Please, I thank you for listening to my channel. And if you have any questions or comment, hey, post it on there, okay? I thank you. You guys have a great, great weekend.